Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. And once again, we're honored to have with us a man of men, someone who knows the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, put him up against anybody in the nation, Judge Andrew Napolitano. And week after week, unfortunately, he keeps telling us about how we've lost our rights to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And an article that's coming out tomorrow is "A Constitution the Government Evades." Hello there, Judge.
Yeah, hi, Gerald. How are you? It does seem like I'm shoveling against the tide, but these things just keep coming and coming. I mean, what I'm talking about here is Section 702 of the FISA Act, which is Bush era, but it expires every 5 years, and it expires this year on December 31st, and Congress cannot renew it. It permits FBI and NSA and all law enforcement and so-called intelligence apparatus to spy on communications by foreigners physically in the U.S., foreigners digitally in the U.S. You call a cousin in Florence about visiting the cousin, or you call a bookstore in London because you've communicated with a foreign person. The FBI has that conversation without a search warrant, without suspicion, and they can then surveil what you say because you spoke to this foreign person. This was Bush Cheney right after 9/11. This was going to keep us safe from foreign influence. We'll suspend the Fourth Amendment requirement of a search warrant for foreign persons. Foreign is an immutable characteristic of birth. So if you're born in London, come to the United States, become an American citizen, they can still, because you were born foreign, they can still surveil you. This shows you the government evades the Constitution. There's no respect for it whatsoever. This thing is up for reenactment by the Congress in the next 2 months. The reason I wrote the column is because last week, no surprise, Joe Biden asked the Congress to reenact this, even though he and everybody else there has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. I'll tell you a funny story. 5 years ago, this was up for reenactment because it expires every 5 years. Donald Trump was in the White House. I got in front of the cameras on Fox and Friends, 6:30 in the morning. I said, Mr. President, the Congress just reenacted this statute. Veto it. This is the same mentality that spied on you when you were in Trump Tower, and it's probably spying on you now. This was 2017. We didn't, or 2018, we didn't even know how prevalent the deep state was spying on him. He tweets, the judge is right. Excuse me, your cough's contagious. The judge is right. I'm going to veto this thing. Well, all hell breaks loose. Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan rush to the Oval Office and say, according to somebody who was there, you can't sign this thing. What about the judge? The judge thinks the Constitution means what it says.
Yeah.
So Trump sent a message to me through this person that was in the Oval Office. They twisted my arm. I'm going to sign it, but I think you're right. That's right where we are now. And I'm railing against it because I'm going to guess the American public doesn't know this.
Oh, of course they don't. I didn't know it, you know. And
the whole idea that Congress can poke a hole in, cut an exception out of the Constitution is antithetical to a Constitution as the fundamental law of the land. The Constitution created by Congress. Congress didn't create the Constitution.
Not anymore. Who did you say went up to Trump? Pence, Ryan, and who else?
McConnell, when he was able to walk.
McConnell.
Sorry.
Think about it. Could you imagine swallowing the crap coming out of those shitty mouths? That's the cover of your Trends Journal this week. I don't know if you saw it yet.
I saw it. I wasn't going to mention it, but I saw it.
Yeah. That's it. A fully shit idiot, politicians, bureaucrats, mainstream media, and celebrities. So here, Trump swallows the crap coming out of the mouths of these arrogant nothing of little boys. Pence, out of his mind, McConnell, sucking off the public tit his whole life. Ryan, an arrogant little nothing of a clown. And these are the people telling us what to do.
And they prevailed on him. And in fairness to him, he had decency to sort of almost apologize to me, because he made a big deal out of this. And I actually got in trouble at Fox saying, you shouldn't be telling the president what to do on air. So I said to my bosses, what do you mean I shouldn't be telling the president what to do? That's what you pay me for, to explain the Constitution to people. If the president happens to be in the audience, that's even better. And then they backed down.
Yeah, God forbid you should say anything to a president or a politician. You're not allowed to. You write this article and you begin it by saying 6 months ago, FBI officials boasted that in 2022, their agents had spied on only 120,000 Americans without search warrants. Under the Constitution, that number should be 0. What did they accomplish out of spying on 120,000 people?
That is a great question, and it's an easy answer. Nothing, because the courts won't even allow that information to come into. Suppose they spied on somebody and he admits to a bank robbery. They can't use it because they obtained it illegally. They gain nothing by spying. It's just an easy shortcut for them. They don't have to go to a judge. They don't have to have probable cause. They don't have to wait for a search warrant. They don't have to execute the search warrant. They don't have to follow the rules. They can just press a few buttons on their computer and listen to the conversation. Can you imagine Madison or Jefferson contemplating that when the Bill of Rights was enacted?
Well, that's what you note here. You said the reason for the search warrant requirement is to prevent a repeat of what the British agents did to the American colonists before the Revolutionary War. Then secret British courts in London issued general warrants to British agents in America, which authorized the bearer to search wherever he wished and seized whatever he found. And you go on to say, to the colonial mindset, freedom had one universal meaning. It meant freedom from the government, from king and parliament. And how about from president and Congress?
How about we enacted a government well-intended, but destroys far more freedom than king and parliament did. The highest tax rate imposed on Americans, there wasn't an income tax, so it's difficult to calculate, but the people that have done this, economic historians, 3%, and that was enough to bring about a bloody revolution. Today, it's 59 or 60%, and we accept it.
Yeah. No, this is disgusting what's happened to this country. And you say, what about freedom from the new government here? And it's the first task of the new Congress was to comply with the promise and craft a Bill of Rights. We have no Bill of Rights anymore.
It's now a bill of privileges that the government, like a water spigot that the government turns on and turns off. We share the same view of George W. Bush, I think, as the worst president in the post-World War II era, certainly in that category. This was his creation. Let's let our people spy on foreigners without search warrants openly in the statute. We'll let them spy on us, but we won't tell anybody until, of course, the Snowden revelations and all that. So it's a terrible, terrible state of affairs. I'm going to guess that the American public will not be animated by the type of argument you and I are having now, and Congress will enact this deplorable statute for another 5 years, and the FBI and the intelligence agencies will continue to spy on foreign persons and on Americans that communicate with them, and life will continue to go on while we're under a microscope.
Well, again, you can't blame little Georgie Bush, because the little slime balls in Congress keep reenacting all of what he's done to us.
Right.
One thing after another, the so-called Patriot Act. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to blame Congress for this as well, because they're the same low-level mentality and egotistical freaks that little Georgie Bush is.
Correct. And Congress gives so much power to the president. When Barack Obama used the CIA to kill Colonel Gaddafi and destroy Libya, whoop, Congress looked the other way. Let the president just take war-making power from them. Every post-World War II president has done the same thing. You either wittingly or unwittingly use the CIA as a private secret military, and Congress not only didn't stop it, it continues to fund it. Congress is really, well, they're both the culprits, but Congress is so tepid and so weak, it just lets presidents take power away from them. And now we have a president who can't put two sentences together.
Or walk in a straight line.
Right.
You know, the going back to Libya, you forgot also, brought to you by Hillary Clinton, Samantha Power, and Susan Rice.
Right.
I'm always sick and tired of hearing that baloney line. If only women were in charge. Look at the little women war hawks you got running around the world right now. What's that woman over there that's the head of the NATO, van der Leyen?
Right.
Yeah. Babak over in Germany. More war, more war, more war. All the war whores, one after another. Race, creed, color, good and bad comes in all of them. You know, so I'm tired of this. And going back to Libya, what no one's talking about is what I've been talking about since that terrible dam burst and over 11,000 people were killed and that beautiful area destroyed. The whole country went to crap after the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, Barack Obama, got rid of Gaddafi. Libya was it was the richest country in Africa.